In this tutorial we'll be creating this cool transition that you can use on your streams or video editing, and it takes no time. Alright, so this is the logo we're going to be working with here. I just dropped it into pre-comp, and yeah. I also have this background that I'm going to drop here and position like so. Add a little bit of curves to it. This is depending on your choice and what you're going to do. I'm just going to... Alright, so we're going to pre-compose this as well. I'm going to create a solid, name this matte. Now going to the logo layer, we're going to go to layer, outer trace, set this to alpha, and these are the settings I use, and you can see it just creates a mask around the logo. Okay, I'm going to hit M, disable this keyframe because we don't need that, and now we just have a mask of the logo, and I'll show you why in a second. We're going to copy this mask and drop it into the solid we just created, and since it's the same size as the comp, it should fit perfectly. Okay, we're gonna hit M on this solid. We're gonna set a keyframe for this mask, starting at, let's say, until 1 second, like so. And on the very first keyframe, we're gonna select the mask, double click. I'm gonna be holding Ctrl Shift, and we simply drag the mask out of bounds until we don't see it in the comp. So you can see it's a little bit here. We're gonna drag this further, like so. That's enough. Alright. So basically what we have is a mask going outside the comp and positioning around the logo. Now we're gonna select these keyframes, hit F9, and I'm just gonna create something like so. Now we're gonna go into the background layer we have and set it to alpha matte. And make sure our mask is set to subtract. Okay, so what we have now is this. Cool, let me just turn the checkers here so you can see. Okay, that's pretty cool. And you can play around with the keyframes obviously, so let's say a little bit faster, like so. And you just gotta make sure that it's fully covered here and the background doesn't appear. As you can see, it appears a little bit. So what you want to do is hit M twice and let's say -2 on the mask, just to be safe. Because it's gonna be transparent on your stream or whatever you're using this for, so we don't want that. Now we're gonna go to, let's say, 2 seconds, copy this keyframe, paste it here, and the first keyframe, paste it around here. Select these two, hit F9 again, and I'm gonna make the opposite kind of keyframe. Okay, so what we have now, coming in and out. Cool. Next we're gonna simply animate the logo, and you can do this in any other way you want, but I'm just gonna do it with the opacity, so hit T, set the keyframe from 0 to 100, like so, and I'm gonna make it appear around the time it comes to the center, so like this. And one for the end, let's say around here, maybe a little, yeah. Okay, this works. Now, a way we can upgrade this is by adding like a saber layer, for example, which always adds to the impact and looks kind of cool. I'm gonna turn the mask off here. So we're gonna create another layer, named the saber. We're gonna copy the mask from the matte layer we have already animated and simply paste it onto the saber layer. Now we're gonna add saber to this layer. Go to the mask here, we can set this to none, doesn't really matter. And go to customize core and set this to layer masks. Okay, so what we have now is this. And since we're making a transition, we're gonna go into render settings and make sure composite setting is set to transparent. Okay, let's see what we got. So we're gonna decrease the settings here. And I'm gonna set it higher once it hits, so around this. Set for keyframes for these. Say around so. This is up to you how you want to do this. You can use one of the presets as well. F9. So just playing. Okay, so once you get an effect you like, you can set the saber layer to add or screen. I just like setting it to add. And we got this. Let me turn on the checkers here so you can see. Boom. Now a thing we can do is delay the saber layer for like a single frame. So let's drag this. Okay, very cool. I'm gonna actually decrease actually set this lower here. And that's about it. So as you can see, it's a pretty basic but a cool transition, and you can create one in no time. Okay, so the only problem with this kind of transition is if you're using text, for example. And if you go to the first frame, you'd see I had to do something like this, which is not the cleanest look. But it really depends on what you're using. So basically, if you go to the matte here, kind of roughly set for the first frame because we need to cover the whole frame. So if you're working with text, it might not be the best choice for you. But if your logo is kind of full like this one, it should work perfectly. The only other thing you should know about rendering transitions is if you go to the render settings, you gotta make sure it's set to QuickTime. Your format options here would be animation. And on your channels, make sure you have RGB plus alpha, which is the transparency of the layer. And that is it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching.